world, yeah.
What percentage of Gen Zers do you think support the government putting cameras inside of your homes for safety?
Ooh.
Yeah. No one?
No one.
You're gonna get, what do you think? What do you guess?
No one.
No one?
Absolutely.
I mean, my first guess was going to be really low, like 5.
38%.
That is the closest guess we've had all day. 29%. So 1/3 of my generation apparently supports the cameras inside of their home. How do you feel about that?
No, I didn't. I think they were not like in the right state to answer when they. That's a good question.
Do you see their side of it?
I don't think so. Why would I let a camera in my home, right?
At the same time, we got cameras on pretty much everything these days. We got on TV, laptops, phones.
Of course, it's my private space. I won't want the government to see what I'm doing inside.
Do you think there's a level of freedom that gets sacrificed for safety? Like you have more safety, you have less freedom, more freedom, less safety?
I think that's true because if you give freedom to all people that they can do anything what they want,
Right.
so they can make other people be in danger, right?
The more security that you have, the more limitations there are in personal life and being free.
No, I don't think so.
No?
It is not interdependent. It's in our hands. It's not in the government's hands.
Interesting. So definitely some interesting thoughts here. I'm curious to hear from you guys. How'd you feel about these street interviews? You agree with everybody?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially the one gentleman who doesn't understand it. Why would you want cameras in your house? Why would you want that in your house?
Okay. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I feel like they all had a pretty good take, and they also thought the percentages were way lower, the same way probably all of us did. We didn't think, 30% of people were going to say, yeah, I want those in my house.
Now, specifically, 29% of Gen Zers. So why do we think it's Gen Z that supports this the most? Because we did see a decline in the support as people got older.
Because they've been raised on that technology. Tablets, cell phones, you need a jaws of life to pry the cell phone out of a Gen Zer's hand. 29% is not the whole population, but I think we're just so used to it that the idea of having that...
It's like, why not?
Why not? Full-time? For them, maybe that's their thing, but I don't see the purpose.
Do you think people feel like they're already being watched? And it's like I feel like everything I do on social media is watched anyways.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
So maybe they're leaning a little bit towards, what does it matter? I could feel safer inside my home.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't feel safe inside your home, I think you need to probably reevaluate where you're living first. I feel like that might be step number one before you install a camera. The other thing, it just seems like even if you had a camera there, it's going to be post-action. If you get murdered in your home, we have it on video, that's not very useful for stopping the murder.
Could it deter?
Do the police?
I would imagine that my generation would think, oh, well, it would deter people from doing bad things.
Who commits a crime that is thinking logically? Who's really thinking about it logically? Like, yo, if I smack my brother in the head in the house in front of the government camera.
Hold on a second. Do the police have a teleportation device to get into the house when they see the domestic violence on
I guess we could do a whole other episode
exactly.
on that one.
Called the guy from Back to the Future.
So let me ask you guys this, because I think, speaking from my generation, I feel like a lot of people would say, well, I have nothing to hide anyways, so I may as well feel safer. Or I mean, because we're so used to people, they hear our audio, what we say, and then it's advertised through us on Instagram.
But what if things change? For example, what if eating beef becomes illegal, right? Because we're trying to save the environment. Eating beef is now illegal. Let's say you want to have a steak in the privacy of your own home, you got some illegal meat. Now you got the camera in there, and now they can monitor that. So laws change, these things change. So
I want to meet the people who thought that this was a good idea and give them a history textbook.
On that note, it's funny you brought that up. Is there some sense of, because some people, like the fall of the Berlin Wall, when they were raised, they would have a way different idea of the government. Does Gen Z have a different idea of the government? I think a lot of older people think the government's not necessarily there to help them because they've realized that through life experience. My generation probably thinks vice versa. They are here to help.
There might be some naivete. There might be some almost entitlement of that the government should be taking care of all these things that the government really isn't supposed to be taking care of for them. Like, for example, what happens in your own home, that's kind of on you traditionally. Right. So, yeah, it seems almost like a sense of entitlement. They need to take care of all these extra things for me.
I think where I have a lot of struggle is comparing the line of freedom and safety. And I don't think my generation could really understand that because the line has been blurred so much in so many other, hot political issues. So how do we define that line? Can we?
Have you been to the airport lately? That's what I tell everybody. That's probably the best balanced approach to freedom and safety. It's not invasive. It's to promote security on the aircraft. But maybe there's just a part of the generation, Gen Z, your generation, that maybe you said naivete, there's probably a ton of that in saying yes for government surveillance inside the home. But I think that there's just maybe not an understanding of what role government is supposed to play in somebody's life. So they see it as a figurehead as opposed to a partnership.
Like the government's there to support them more.
Yes, but when I say partnership, I don't mean a partnership in hi, come into my house 24 hours a day.
So when we come back, what are we willing to exchange for convenience, efficiency, or safety? Let's see.